What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Suicide Squad, and I want to try to predict the review scores for it. So I love making these kind of videos. I know sometimes they make people mad, but I'm going to kind of, cut out all of the chit-chatting in the beginning, and I want to jump right into it. It's a chance for us to talk about what I think critics are going to say, what I think people in general are going to say about this movie, right? And this is kind of the start of my Suicide Squad coverage. Over the next several weeks, we're going to have videos every single week, maybe a couple videos a week, talking about this movie. And obviously, I'll watch it day one. We'll react to there, and we'll go from there. Okay. So, this is a tough one. I personally think. Okay, the movie very much gives me mixed vibes, and we'll leave my personal opinion largely out of it. I'm not saying like I hate how it looks. I'm not saying I love how it looks. In fact, some trailers I've absolutely adored. Some trailers I haven't liked. Some give me very mixed signals. So I personally, in my body, I feel very, very confused at this movie. It's giving me very, very mixed vibes. So, I think I've seen largely overall positive things said about the trailers, right? I think I maybe am probably in the minority in terms of like skepticism of it. I think people are generally receiving it well. I'm sure there's people that are not, but so on. So look, you look at the first Suicide Squad film, and we have to go by Rotten Tomatoes, right? If we're talking about review scores, while I don't go based off of Rotten Tomatoes review scores, I've said that before. Some of my favorite movies actually have very, very low scores on it. We have to go by it. There's really nothing else that tracks it in the way or as big, popularity-wise as Rotten Tomatoes is. So Suicide Squad, obviously did not get a very good score. I believe it got a 26 on Rotten Tomatoes. So the odds of this beating that are, it's pretty high. It's a lot like, I think, even Zack Snyder's Justice League, where it's like, well, at the very least, please just be better than the version we got. And, Suicide Squad is a pretty horrible movie. I know it's got its people that love it, and I'm glad people want to stand up for that, and I have nothing against it, but I don't think it's going to be hard for any movie really to beat that film, including the kind of the new version of it. Okay, now one thing I want to do is I want to look at Guardians of the Galaxy. So James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, got a 92 on Rotten Tomatoes. The second one got an 85. So generally, I don't think it's unfair to say that I think people look to Suicide Squad because of James Gunn and because, Band of Misfits and some people or some characters that people know very well, and then some characters that people don't know very well. The comparisons to Guardians of the Galaxy, I honestly do feel like are fair. I don't think it's far reach to talk about that, right? To compare them to it. So am I expecting that? No, not necessarily. I really, because of my mixed vibes for this film, I really have a hard time predicting where it's going to be. But I'll throw one out there right now. I like to give myself somewhat of a window. So I'm going to say, oh my God, and I'm sure this is going to upset people. We'll say 77 to an 80. I'll put myself in that nice little, there's a 4-point range for you guys there, 77 to an 80. I don't know. I just feel like there's a possibility that this movie really is a letdown. You know what I mean? I don't. It's tough because I don't think. I guess I'll just say it. I don't think James Gunn is some sort of magical savior. Do I think he's talented? Oh, absolutely yes. And do I think he's made some amazing stuff, even stuff that's not, the top of his resume stuff? Yeah, yeah. And I don't think having him hurts you. You know what I mean? I think overall it only helps you. I think it's very good that he's on board. It's just, I don't know. I think with this movie, it very much depends on the vibe throughout the entire thing. And like I said, the trailers to me paint different pictures depending on which trailer it is. Like, obviously, I think what they want you to expect from this film, right, is that it's going to be fun, it's going to be funny, it's going to have all that. But I mean, just like Guardians, right, it does have some seriousness to it, right? So there is going to be emotions, there is going to be some seriousness to it, and it is going to be about these characters. Like, the movie lives or dies based off of the characters, and I would argue the leads, right? I mean, you look at the cast list for what do you want to say, 15 plus characters, right? Obviously, they're not all going to make it. It really boils down to like a top 5 or 6 situation, right? Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn, obviously Idris Elba, right? It kind of comes down to like the main, like the core that we see in a lot of the posters. John Cena, right? Peacemaker. I think it really rests on them, although the other characters I think will probably help the film. I think it would suck if they, if they end up hurting the film quite a bit, right? So I really think it rests on those main characters. And then again, the villain, it depends on that as well. It depends on, I guess, I don't know, just the way that this movie goes. I really, look, I'm not like anti this film. I just have a really hard time like saying that I'm confident one way or the other in it, because I do envision a world where it could be very disappointing to a lot of people, or it could be really good, which some people think it already will be, and then it would surprise, say, people like me, or say people that just think it's garbage and it's gonna suck, right? It would obviously surprise them if it does well. And again, taking this all removed from the fact that I don't care about Rotten Tomatoes, if this got a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes, it'd be like, well, that's a great honor, right? But ultimately, like, I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna judge it on its own, right? Even a previous movie, F9, right? I think it deserves higher than what and I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go that controversial road. I think it deserves higher than what Rotten Tomatoes gave it. So, ultimately, I really don't go based off of reviews. I mean, I look at them, right? They obviously do enter my mind, but I don't really make my movie buying or watching experience based off of that. I am very excited for this film. It very much gives me odd vibes where I think if everything comes together, I do think this is kind of almost a replica, and maybe better. I'm not saying like it needs to be the same, by the way, but if it's like a replica of Guardians of the Galaxy, and by that I mean high 80s, low 90s, right? Fantastic. It would be like, oh my God, he did it again. Like, he saved these characters, or he redeemed Suicide Squad, all that stuff, right? That's the kind of storylines you'd be seeing. If it's on the reverse end, though, right, if a lot of the comedy flops and there's just not enough engagement, or he doesn't understand the characters, or whatever ends up happening, right? And the movie kind of flops. And by the way, I don't think like the low end of this movie is like a 20 or like a 30, right? I think where I'm going is it could even be not necessarily in the middle, but maybe towards the higher end. The movie, could it get a 90? Absolutely. Could it get an 80? Absolutely. Do I think it gets 20, 30, 40? Honestly, unless it's just a complete dumpster fire, which I really, like, I don't see that happening, okay? I see it maybe being disappointing, and maybe it gets in, like, the 60s, like the low 60s, maybe at the absolute lowest. But I'm not saying like, oh, okay, on the opposite end of the spectrum, right? 90 is like the high end, and then like 26, like it'll match the original movie, right? But I don't know. Maybe we would have said the exact same thing about that movie back in 2016, right? So it all depends on how it actually does. So that's what I'll say. I'll say those high 70s. I think it puts it in a really solid category. If I open Rotten Tomatoes and the Suicide Squad has like a 79, I'm going to feel good about it. And again, then I'm going to watch it and I'll decide based off myself, right? So again, we will talk about this movie more as the weeks go on. We'll talk about different things regarding it. And then when it comes out, we'll do the review. We'll talk about, the future and how this movie overall did, right? Let me know in the comments below, guys, what review scores you think the movie will get. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, leave a like would definitely help this video out. All of my social media stuff, including our Patreon and our YouTube memberships, are in the description. The join button is obviously right next to the subscribe button. Would love to have you guys there, or following me on Twitter, second channel, all that good stuff, again in the description below. Thank you for watching, guys. More of the Suicide Squad videos coming very, very soon. I hope to see you guys there.